Hey, deserving listeners, talking to you. Let's watch Sister Wives.
And there's this urge that I'm seriously fighting. It's like deep in me. It's ugly, it's sinister, and that's the wolf you want to starve. But that urge to do it, to just be mean as hell, just has gotten in me, and it's a fight.
Well, that certainly will explain a lot, right? And it could be framed as depression. It could be framed as the buildup of a lot of anger. It could be framed as him interpreting anger as of the devil. It sounds aggressive and violent, which makes me wonder what he went through as I don't know. Does anyone know? I mean, don't spoil it if it ever comes up. One of the things I'm planning on doing is once I catch up to y'all in the seasons, because right now I'm in season 18 and there's a 19th season that aired in 2025. So at the end of season 19, I plan on finally just going online and Googling around and, maybe he's in other interviews talked about his childhood, or he has a sibling that has talked, or I don't know. Because I wouldn't be surprised if he was betrayed and treated in a way that made him think that either he was evil or that the caregiver was evil at times, or the caregiver was violent and it is all speculative, but let's say that his dad, I'm not accusing, there's no data, but let's say that his dad was occasionally violent and would apologize to him or the family and frame it as the devil had got to him and he needs to pray about it and he needs to dedicate himself to the religion. There can be some functionality to that, but it could also teach this lesson, and it could create in a 10-year-old Cody this notion of, well, I'm hurt and angry. Does that mean I'm of the devil too? Oh, what if as I walk my way through this, if maybe he's experiencing a little bit of anger, not like violent anger, but a little bit, and he's like, ooh, that's of the devil. That will lead to dad. I don't want to be like dad, not only because that's horrible, but also it's like of the devil. So any little bit of anger would get suppressed. And, you could see his behavior in the first number of seasons where really all of them, I thought, would express more anger. And I kept thinking it was just in front of the camera. So I'm like, surely they are expressing more emotion behind closed doors, but it kind of sounds like they weren't. So I'm just speculating. Maybe I'll hear something. I doubt we will. I think he has a policy of just not outing his family, which, I'll respect.
I don't know. I worked so hard to do what was right. And when you lose that and you feel like you failed even to God, you get in this place where it's like, well, I should just be the devil I think I am.
You know what I'm saying? It's interesting. And he could just be saying this, but it sounds genuine. And it'd be strange to think that he would say this in a false manner, because how would he benefit by saying this? It's dark and not uncommon. And what I would do with him, I've had clients like this, and I would say, well, tell me what's on your mind. Everything is safe to talk about here. We will try to make sure that you don't harm anybody. We can agree on that, right? Okay, well, fantasize away what's in your head. And what are you angry about? Are you angry at me? Probably you are, right? Because when people are like this, they tend to be angry at everybody. So tell me that you're angry at me. Don't be violent, but let me have it. And I will listen. And I'm not going to be distant. If it hurts my feelings, I'll tell you. Or if I feel like you're being unfair, I'll tell you. But I won't reject you, and I won't not listen, and I won't fight with you. So, because that fundamental safety of talking about your anger might be what he needs. He might need that very early, because that's what you should be doing to a 2 or 3 year old. But some people have never had that.
This is stuff that I should just be keeping to myself. I don't want Robin to see this. I don't want her to know how dark I've gotten. I'm now thinking that you probably didn't share with me.
It's interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Was this a significant part of the Christine Janelle anger? I mean, I don't know. Or is it just the way he's framing the anger? I don't know. This is an ad by BetterHelp. And if you sign up, please use the link below because that really helps us out. So these days, when it comes to mental health, there's a lot of guidance and advice out there, right? From detoxes to cold plunges and other sorts of things like that. But how do you know what would work for you personally? In recent years, I've had to spend a lot of time debunking a lot of myths that clients have absorbed from TikTok and Facebook. So a well-trained ethical therapist can be a wonderful resource when it comes to sifting through all that information and developing a personalized treatment plan for you. Well, a good option to find a therapist is at BetterHelp. If you're thinking of starting therapy, it's definitely worth giving a try. They have over 35,000 therapists with a wide variety of styles. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. So, talk it out with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/Kirk. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Kirk.
I'd be abandoning, you know?
Yep. I get it.
I just have this gut thing. It's like I'd like to run away from my life. You know, just escape, just change my name, disappear, be somebody else. I hate my life right now.
I always wanted to.
Wow. Wow. I am happy that he is at least being vulnerable to himself, and he feels safe enough to tell us about it. Yeah, I believe him. I mean, it looks real, right? It looks genuine. And his life and his behavior certainly reflects that. And I am compelled to use this as a jumping off point to talk to you who might feel this way now or have in the past or know someone who feels this way. It's the product of suffering. It's the product of pain and hurt and demoralization, thwarted belongingness, maybe even resulting in suicidality, right? That's a way out. It happens. As a therapists, we all hear those things a lot. It's common. People don't on Instagram about it, but it's way more common. And I've been there, where you just feel like, how do I, it could be moments of feeling rejected. It's often also in moments of shame and feeling like you don't have any worth. You just want to burn the whole thing down and start over. What's the point in trying to rebuild or repair this fucked up life? You've already tried and nothing has worked. People still don't love you. You're still this ridiculous human. The world is, falling apart sometimes is the way people will. It's like, what's the point in even rebuilding somewhere else? The world is, it's all devil and grime and dysfunction and horribleness, depression, but also just existential dread or shame, like I said. And maybe for some of y'all, since the day you were born, life has sucked because of abuse. And then you finally break free, you break into adulthood, and wow, it still sucks. Why is that? And with today's world and things happening, looked at in a certain way, it feels like, what's the point? And that's the end of that's the end of the paragraph. Usually online you will hear people say, but there's hope. Well, you have to decide if there's hope. I have hope, but you don't have to have hope. I have tremendous hope, but I wasn't abused as a child. And I'm not being abused now. my life is good. My relationship with my wife is, I'm not saying this to make people feel like shit, but I have that privilege, tremendous privilege. I somehow lucked out by having one of the best families and parents that one could ever have. In spite of what they went through in their own childhoods, how did that happen? So I'm not telling you that you have to have hope, or that you're wrong for being demoralized, or that you're not looking at it right. I've sat with clients for years, every week, in their depression, to know that just simply saying, there's this one subreddit that I will giggle at in a sardonic manner. I can't remember what it's called. I never remember the names of the subreddits. It's not, when I see it, I know it, but when I recall it, it's not really, because I don't talk out loud when I'm, if I said it, anyway. But it's a subreddit dedicated to sarcastic posts from people who are suffering, and they will post some TikTok or some meme that suggests that one can overcome these kinds of issues and others by just simply changing one small aspect of your life or the way that you think. It'll be some TikTok where it's just like, look, if you're depressed and things have been going badly for you, I was like that too. And you know what happened? I just woke up one day and said, I'm not going to let it bring me down. And okay, if that worked for you, great. But if you're proposing that everyone else who is depressed and demoralized and dysphoric, that all I have to do is wake up and just decide to be happy, it's not only just stupid, but it's also oppressive, because that notion is in society. And that'll be internalized by people who are depressed. And by depressed, I'm talking about, major depressive disorder, but I'm also just talking about other experiences and ongoing conditions that aren't in the DSM. There's a lot of things I'm talking about, just general demoralization, lack of hope, hopelessness, So that, I will say that with every person that I've worked with professionally and people that I know in my personal life, there is a path to fulfillment and less demoralization and less depression. And for those people, it's worth the fight. It never goes away, unfortunately, for people. For some people, it never goes away. But, they cobble together out of a lot of advice that they get and out of a lot of their own internal resources, they cobble together an approach to life that is better and is more likely to stave off the larger versions of hopelessness and demoralization. I think Lady Gaga talks about this, that she gets depressed, it sounds like severely depressed. And what I remember her saying was that she at some point figured out that when she wakes up in the morning, she has to say, don't think about the big picture or something like that. Just don't think about whether or not you're going to do the next step of your day. Just do it. Just put one foot in front of the other. When you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh, I don't even want to get out of bed. Just don't think. Just put one foot out of the bed and put the next foot. And because a lot of depression has to do with, well, if I get out of bed, then I'm going to have to take a shower, and then I'm going to have to face the day, and I'm going to have to look at my email, and then I'm going to have to face the fact that I can't pay, whatever, that future tripping. And I'm not saying this is going to work for everyone, and it's not a simple fix. And it doesn't fix her problem. She's not completely cured of her depression. She talks, from my memory, this was a while back that I remember hearing an interview with her. I think it was like an Oprah, or maybe it was with Harry, the Prince Harry. Anyway. But I definitely have heard clients come to that as a way. Anyway, so he's talking that way. And that's awful. He's saying, I want to burn it all down and start over. I want to run. And we don't know how he got there. I have my hypotheses. But that's severe suffering. And when people are suffering and they don't have any way out of it, they typically will make everyone around them suffer. Not all the time. But it looks like that's what's happening. And I also say this because I don't know what the online discourse is around the show because I'm not looking at it because, I mean, other than the comment section, and I ask that people don't spoil things for me, which I get a glimpse, but I'm guessing that my comment section isn't, the average online discussion. I don't know. But from past reality TV shows that I've watched, I'm just going to take a guess and say that everyone hates Cody and has diagnosed him as being a narcissist, and that he's gaslighting everyone. I'm just going to take a guess. Now, is he gaslighting? Is he a narcissist? Is he abusive? Yeah, we could have that conversation, but it's not a slam dunk. I don't see evidence of narcissistic personality spectrum. I mean, maybe mild, I don't know, but certainly not moderate to severe. There are other things we could talk about, but a better way of looking at it, in my mind, a more coherent way of looking at it is, all the various different hypotheses that I have. And of course, I would say that because they're my hypotheses, but, I'm not married to them. So in a way, I'm a polygamist when it comes to hypotheses because I'm married to, I like a lot of hypotheses. Anyway, they don't necessarily get along, these hypotheses. So I say all this because part of the reason why I react to these reality shows and publish is the function that I've heard from people that when I exhibit compassion, and I'm not trying to exhibit compassion, I just in the way that I have found the way that the world and the way humans work, it just so happens to provoke compassion. I think I'm seeing people in my mind, just my mind, accurately, which often results in compassion being provoked. That's a secondary effect. I'm not seeking a compassionate perspective. I have a perspective that I have found to cohere with the inner experience that I hear from people and with their behavior. It predicts things and explains things, and it just so happens to be more compassionate than the common perspective that everyone's a narcissist. You know what I mean? So I say all this because one of the functions of doing all this, one of the outcomes that I'm hoping for is that you, when you are in your dark places and you think of yourself as maybe like a Cody or a Robin, or someone in your life is like a Cody, someone that you love, then you have an option to see in a different way the ways that I am proposing that I think are more accurate, and it results in compassion. When people, like for him, it would be good if it would be better for everyone, including him, but his kids, everyone around him, if he had a different perspective about what is happening to him. If he could frame it as anger, possibly depression, possibly old traumas that are coming up, possibly just the confinement of polygamy that he doesn't want to be in. And to validate that and to allow him just to say that without having to frame it as the devil. He might have been told this many times in his church, that when men think about leaving polygamy, because this would happen sometimes, leaving a marriage, then that's the devil talking. It wouldn't be strange to imagine that he had heard that many times, or at least it was implied. I don't know. So if he had a different way of seeing it, then he could have a way forward other than complete destruction of everything. He would have self-compassion, and he could start to go back to his old self. And for you, if you are in that dark place, then you can also have that compassion. You can say, oh, I thought I was the only one. I thought there was something wrong with me. I thought I deserved to feel this way. I thought I was weak for not being able to pull out of this. Maybe that's not the only way of seeing it. Maybe there's another way of seeing it. Maybe I'm suffering for good reasons. Maybe reasons I don't even exactly know. But I know I'm suffering, and I know I don't deserve this, and I don't know a way out of it. And I have narratives about this, like I'm overreactive, or I'm too much for people, or everyone is suffering this way, or I'll always suffer this way, or something, or I should feel this way because of all the bad things that I have thought and done or something. Maybe there's another way of seeing it. So I don't know if any of this is making sense, but I make sense to myself. All right, well, that does it for that episode of Psychology in Seattle. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.